Tonight, 4 dead, 1 injured and a gunman under arrest as Darwin grapples with last night's shooting rampage.
We reveal more details about the alleged gunman identified as Ben Hoffman, released from jail in January.
The first victim of last night's tragedy named as Darwin taxi driver Hassan Baidoon.
Praise for the top Territory cop who's been credited with talking the alleged shooter down.
And the government refuses to concede failure as everyone asks, how could this happen?
This is 9 News Darwin.
Good evening. There's scenes we're not used to in Australia, a shooting spree unfolding on the streets of Darwin.
4 people were killed in the hour-long rampage before police took down the alleged gunman, Ben Hoffman.
Tackled and then tasered by the Territory's Tactical Response Police on one of Darwin's main roads.
Get back. There's still a serious situation going on.
The 45-year-old alleged gunman writhes in agony. The rampage started at the Palms Motel, rooms blasted with a stolen pump-action shotgun.
We watched him walk from room to room, shooting every room.
The suspect shouting out for a man called Alex.
We thought they were fireworks, but we heard the shots going off, bang, 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 quite a lot of them, maybe 15.
Unable to locate his intended target, the alleged shooter turned his gun on an innocent bystander. Taxi driver Hassan Baidoon was killed while he was on a meal break.
He was a nice, decent guy, very humble.
But it was far from finished. Shots were also fired through a door, seriously injuring a woman in the legs.
And this guy was running towards me with this girl in his arms. He came straight up to me. She said that she's been shot.
Over the course of an hour, another 3 people were killed as the alleged gunman moved on to another 4 locations across the city, hunting for his target. Unknown to the alleged shooter, the man called Alex was actually interstate. With so many crime scenes here in Darwin, resources have been stretched, so 9 New South Wales specialists in forensics and ballistics have been flown in to help Territory Police. The suspect police overpowered is 45-year-old Ben Hoffman. He was released on parole in January with strict conditions, including wearing a tracking bracelet on his ankle.
We've asked for a detailed report immediately from the Parole Review Board into what happened with this alleged offender.
Authorities have been unable to answer why it took an hour to find Hoffman, given he was wearing an ankle bracelet, and so far no clues as to why a lone gunman allegedly took out 4 people he apparently didn't know. In Darwin, Damien Ryan, 9 News.
Now, live to Rosanna Kingson in Darwin. Rosanna, how's the community reacting to the tragedy?
Well, Paul, residents here are shocked and horrified that something like this could happen in the top end. Many of the residents who witnessed the shooting last night are long-term Territorians. One man told 9 News about the shooting that he saw in Finnis Street.
We saw him carrying the gun, he just holding it on his side, and it was very eerie. It was very, very strange.
Clinton Hoffman, the brother of alleged shooter Ben Hoffman, released a statement today expressing his deepest condolences for the families affected by this shooting. The 45-year-old man remains in hospital tonight under guard. He's in a stable condition and police are expecting to charge him either tonight or tomorrow. Sam?
Thank you for the update. Rosie Kingston reporting there for us. Thanks, Rosie. One of the 4 men slain in last night's deadly shooting has been identified as local taxi driver Hassan Baidoon. As police officers work to identify the other victims, preventative measures are being taken to help anyone traumatised by the events.
Hassan Baidoon, the first victim of last night's shooting to be identified.
He's a nice, decent guy, very humble, approachable.
Hassan graduated from Charles Darwin University with a Masters in IT. His family and the local Islamic community in disbelief.
They're all shocked, very shocked, because that happened so suddenly. no one expected, especially in Darwin.
Blue Taxi Company believes Hassan was on a meal break when he was fatally shot. To them, he was a beloved, long-serving driver and his colleagues are in a state of shock. As Darwin comes to terms with the events of last night, a recovery coordination committee has been put together to address the public's fears and concerns.
It will cover what do we do in our schools today, how do we talk to our kids, how we help those people who work in the CBD.
A commitment to those among us in a dark place after the frightening experience.
Sometimes after an event like this, people just feel this sort of sense of vigilance and anxiety because something happened they didn't expect.
If necessary, extra resources will be made available to NT Mental Health and Lifeline.
If you are impacted by any of our stories tonight, please call Lifeline on 13 11 14. Lily Greer, 9 News.
As the community comes to terms with what happened last night, our thoughts turn to the hard-working police officers, paramedics and first responders on the ground, especially the heroic actions of our top cops.
It's an event our officers train for but hope to never have to face. The terrifying reality of an active shooter on the normally sleepy streets of Darwin.
At the end of the day, police officers, we're there to serve and protect. We have those specialist capabilities. We're trained to deal with these situations, and that's what we do.
Reacting as soon as the first 000 call was made, the alleged gunman was in custody in about an hour, largely thanks to one experienced officer on the end of a phone line.
He did make contact with our duty superintendent, who did a magnificent job in negotiating with him and subsequently alerting police to his location. He asked to be placed into protective custody, which we did.
It was Superintendent Lee Morgan who answered the call, convincing the alleged shooter to hand himself into police. While the incredible negotiating skills of Superintendent Morgan have been praised, the situation highlights some major changes coming within the police force.
We're moving to a model now where we'll see an on-call superintendent. Now that person has to be contacted after hours, briefed up about the incident and then requested to make critical decisions.
The changes will come into effect next week. Melissa McKay, 9 News.
One question everyone has asked is, how could this happen? Chief Minister Michael Gunner has ordered an immediate review of everyone on parole and wearing an electronic monitoring bracelet. The Corrections Commissioner says he's saddened the alleged shooter slipped through the cracks under his watch.
Retracing their steps to work out what went so horribly wrong. Released on parole in January 2019, Ben Hoffman, the alleged shooter, was on 23 strict conditions.
He was sentenced to 6 years imprisonment with a non-parole period of 4 years.
Police say he has links to outlaw motorcycle gangs and has been on their radar for a long time.
And whilst on parole, the offender received one minor breach for breaking his curfew by less than an hour. He was subjected during his time in parole to random drug testing, all of which returned negative tests.
Today, the police commissioner said an avenue of inquiry will be his previous sentencing from 2015, where a judge stated his offending stemmed from jail grudges and ongoing feuds involving drugs. But government hasn't conceded failure as the alleged shooter was compliant until yesterday.
We have asked for a detailed report from the parole board on the alleged offender. We have directed an immediate review of everyone on parole. We have directed an immediate review of everyone on electronic monitoring.
The government also isn't ruling out tightening laws.
We believe that firearm may have been stolen as far back as 1997.
John Davis has been a casual compliance officer for NT Corrections for the last 3 years. A few weeks ago, his contract wasn't renewed, as well as a handful of his colleagues. He contacted 9 News to raise safety concerns.
Now that they've started cutting back hours and started cutting back staff to monitor the people who have been released from prison or who are out in the general populace, these people have got carte blanche.
But today, a government spokesperson said the corrections budget has been increased by an additional $12 million and perhaps any non-renewed contracts are a performance-based issue. Zarisha Bradley, 9 News.